Japan is apparently not a cashless society, so because I live here, I have to carry physical money around, including coins. Well, I guess I don't have to carry the coins around, but if I don't, well, I don't want to end up like that. When I moved here, I needed a coin case and I needed one bad. But since I live on a remote island, there isn't exactly a large selection of coin cases here. And on Amazon, since I couldn't actually get in close and touch them, I kind of had decision paralysis. So I decided to make my own one the professional way, with cardboard and a roll of duct tape. But it's starting to fall apart. It doesn't have special slots for each coin. And just overall, I'm not feeling it anymore. So now I'm like, hey, I got a 3D printer. I technically have the skills necessary to do so. I can just make a better one for me this time. And to do that, I'm gonna have to ride the wheel of engineering. So first things first, what am I looking for? What do I want? Well, I want a coin case that can 1, carry lots of coins, 2, fit easily in my pocket, 3, be aesthetically pleasing, and 4, separate the coins out by denomination because I do not want to have to dig through a little baggie to find the coins I need. So of course I'm going to need a coin case over a coin purse, but the other problem I have is if I wanted to carry lots of coins, it'll be big, and the bigger it is, generally the harder to pocket it is. But how big do I need? Well, the Japanese Mint currently has a handy English website that lists out the denominations and diameters of all 6 coins currently in regular circulation. The 1, 5, 10, 50, 100, and 500 yen coins. And theoretically, since no more than 5 of one coin are needed to equal the value of the next highest coin, I only need space for 5 of each coin, I think. But to account for fudge factor, I'm probably going to want space for a little bit more than just 5. Now, my first thought would be something like this, where custom-made divots are cut into a block that slides into a bigger box. But an issue there is that the box needs to be thicker than the thickest coin's diameter. The 26.5 millimeter 500 yen boy. And that's a little bit thicker than I want to be putting in my pocket. So, okay, maybe they can lie flat and stack up like this. Well, unless it's a perfect fit, they're able to escape out the top. And also, how wide does this whole thing need to be? The wider it is, the more coins it can fit, but you know what? This is getting too complicated for my taste. Let's just stack them all on their face like the 500 yen coins were going to be. Bear with me, but imagine if I took a block like this, drilled 6 holes in it, put coins in it, and then slapped the lid on it. That's basically what I'm trying to do. Much simpler, and I can make it look like a pumpkin if I want to. Now it's time to plan. First, I'm gonna have to ask you to forgive me for breaking the space-time continuum, but I'm looking to make something like this. It's got 6 holes drilled in it to put the coins in, and little slots so you can count them and pull them out without having to dump the entire thing out in your hand. Write some numbers on top to tell which is which, then snap a lid on top, and Bob's your uncle. We should be good. Now, let me put this back in the future where I got it before anything cataclysmic happens. Now, before I can get this in the physical present world, I first need to make it in a digital world like Fusion 360. First off, I need to draw the general shape of the case with these 6 appropriately sized circles just peeking off the side, remembering to give each hole some wiggle room because 3D printers tend to squish plastic out of the nozzle, which makes the holes a little bit smaller than they should be. Next, we'll extrude this out to make the main body. This is a good thickness, right? Surely not too extreme. Then time to make the lid snugly over the body, but not too snugly. And I'll smooth out the edges to keep it from being too pointy. For the final touches, I'll add the denominations, my name on the bottom in case it ever gets lost, and a cute little jack-o'-lantern face on top. As well as, I'll put these little nibs and divots in so the lid has something to grab onto when I put it on. Finally, I'll put it in the oven to cook overnight, and we'll check in the morning. Okay, 3D printer's been running all night. Let's check it out. Oh, you beauty. Yeah, I got it. So now we've come to the testing part of the engineering process. Now that we have the parts, what's wrong with them and what can we do to fix those problems? But first, of course, I gotta take the brim off. What this does is help it stick to the build plate of the printer, but at the end of the day, it's just waste. We just gotta test everything out and write down what works and what doesn't. For example, does it fit and click together? It actually does. Wow. And can you take it apart? That's a little harder. Or like, how well do the coins fit? As you can see, they fit perfectly, which is a problem because they don't come out. The thing is, coins aren't two-dimensional. They have thickness. So when they tilt like this, they actually become wider, which causes each individual coin to get stuck and you can't take them out. Another problem I found is that the nozzle on my printer isn't actually fine enough to print text this small clearly, so I need to make it bigger. When you're making something in a drafting software, it's really easy to forget how small something is because you can zoom in and out so easily you lose your sense of scale. It's also thicker than it needs to be. Yeah, it's good that it can hold more coins, but if I want to put it in my pocket, I want it to be a little slimmer. As it is right now, it can hold 13 1 yen coins, and theoretically, I only need to hold a max of 5 of any given coin. Since I put a brim on the face, it kind of made it hard to put it into the coins case, so that's probably something I'll just have to remove in the second iteration. So now that I've found all the problems and written them down, it's time to go back to the drawing board and design Mark II. Now, the cool thing about 3D printing is that while it does take a long time, it is really cheap to do. This thing is garbage, yes, but it's only a few cents worth of garbage. And with that, let's improve the design and print a new one. So the first thing I want to do is thin the case down a bit. Now I'm absolutely certain there's a better way to do this than to cut a chunk out of the center and rejoin the pieces. So if anyone knows, please get in touch because I am a total noob and this is what I have to do. Next up is me floundering around trying to make the font and coin holes bigger. Theoretically, if I just change the letters and the circles the cuts are based off of, the cuts should automatically update to reflect that, but I couldn't get the circles to work, so I just made bigger circles and then recut them. Then, since I somehow managed to destroy the pumpkin face on the front by moving it around when I thinned it out, I need to remake that from scratch. Although it wasn't a problem before, I took the opportunity to thicken the walls of the lid just to give it the ability to withstand a little bit more wear and tear. The last thing I need to do is to shrink the little nibs down to help the lid detach more easily, and then it's back to the printer. Catch you on the flip side. I don't know about you, but this looks like a smashing success to me. But while this does look pretty darn good, there are a few problems that if I were to make a version 3, I would want to address. The first is that whenever you 3D print something with absolutely no support, like the bottom of the holes where the jack-o'-lantern face goes, the filament can sometimes droop and therefore become a little thick, which means that whatever you put in this hole will not fit perfectly. So the solution to this would be to either add support for the inside of the hole or make the face a little bit thinner so it fits in nicely. You can also see that there's some black mixed in with the orange here on the first layer. The solution to this would be to make sure everything was properly flushed out of the nozzle after I used the black for printing, but I don't know. I think it looks kind of cool. Also, I don't know why the slicing software saw that this was a thing, marked it into a special color and didn't do anything about it, but on the edges of some of the coin holders, they're like barely extruded and it made these awkward nibs that I should probably just, cut off. All right, and the last test is to see if it stands up to the rigors of the real world, and I am going to be late for work, so I need to go now. Okie doke, I am back for work. I was not late, and it held up really well. I'm super glad to see that it didn't completely break when I just carried it around in my pocket. Of course, only time will tell in the long run how it will hold up, but I'm optimistic. I think the coolest part of all this process is now that I know and have learned all these things for the future, it'd be pretty easy for me to make another one based off of another design. One cool thing I was thinking about was a cherry blossom. They have 5 petals and there are 6 coins, so you could put like the 500 yen in the center, and you could put all the 5 other coins around it, each in their own little petal. Overall though, I think that's it for this vid. If you're interested in my 3D printer and how I set it up and what it does, I'll include a link to that video in the description. And if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comments down below or contact me on any of my social media, Discord link in the description as well. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you again next week. Bye.